Sup, y'all? My name is Ian Edwards, and welcome to the Soccer Comic Rant. Let me get this headphone situation sorted out, and there we go. Welcome to the Soccer Comic Rant, and this podcast can be found at allthingscomedy.com. And when you come to allthingscomedy.com, we have a bunch of comics who have a variety of podcasts that cover a plethora of topics. And Bill Burr's here, Al Madrigal's here, Maz Jobrani, you just name him, Sam Tripoli. Everybody's in this pitch. This podcast is sponsored by onthevolleyapparel.com, and you go to their website at onthevolleyapparel.com, and they got tanks, tees, hoodies, sweatshirts for men and women with soccer, hip-hop emblems and logos on them. And there's a wide variety there, and you could just get something to wear. Sometimes when I rock their shit, people come up to me and say, "Hey man, where'd you get that?" So that's how you know it's some good shit. So go to onthevolleyapparel.com and use my promo code Comic Rant, and boom, you get 20% off at onthevolleyapparel.com. Also, I just want to plug a few things. If you go to Comedy Central right now, my special Ian Talk, Bill Burr Presents Ian Talk, is there, so you could watch my 1-hour stand-up comedy special there, and my album produced by Conan. What's the name of my album? 100% Half-Assed. Yeah, I forgot the name of my album. Is at my website or at CD Baby, or you could just stream it on all those streaming formats that you can stream sound on. Anything musical, it's there. And I got a co-host today. He writes for 442 magazine. He's a comic himself. He's an actor. He's doing well acting. He's booking a lot of acting jobs. And he's pretend humble. And at the one, thank God, and the only, there's only one, Martin Harris.
Thank you very much. Actually, I'm the second Martin Harris. The first one was like a famous Mormon. And so,
well, see, they just bring trouble to the world. So thank God, I only know this one. What up?
Tough week for us. Tough week.
My
to be
week.
Quite honest with you, I'll tell you this.
Well, can I just answer that? My week was tough because we lost first. But then I watched your game, and I never rooted for Steve Bruce more. And when you guys lost, it felt like I won.
Yeah, and I just told you that you probably rooted for Steve Bruce before because he was a Manchester United legend in the late 80s and early 90s.
I remember Steve Bruce as a coach. That's when I came into this thing. Like, there was a bunch of years when I didn't get to watch soccer. It wasn't available where I was growing up in Jamaica. So I only know Steve Bruce as a coach. And, I've never been, like, the greatest fan of his coaching. But that team that was on the field the other day, like, they seemed well-drilled, well-organized, and they made him look good.
In a way, yes. Comparing to what they looked like in the first two games, for sure. They had a game plan they just executed. They parked the bus and they had.
So we're talking about Spurs versus Newcastle.
That's the last game.
Let's just set the table. It's the last game. It's still an important game to discuss because it's one of the games that people are going to talk about this weekend, because Newcastle beat Spurs and got their first win of the season. So go ahead. I just want people to know what we're talking about.
Yeah. So Newcastle, they were terrible in first two games. People are already saying that Steve Bruce it's a horrible solution for a head coaching position after Rafa Benitez, that they will go down for sure, that there is no hope for Newcastle, and they got the result. And it was definitely a painful loss. Probably was the worst loss I've seen in years in terms of being Tottenham supporter.
Why was it the worst loss?
Because the way they didn't have any answers, and it's still, I think they should have gotten the penalty. I think Mike Dean, who is accused of being Tottenham supporter for years, he didn't help in this game.
So he just proved that he's not a Tottenham supporter.
I think he tried to prove that he's not. Yeah, I think that's what he tried to do. Because
who was that? Shales? Who was that defender that went down in front of Kane? He tripped.
Yeah, tripped in front of Kane and pretty much
put his arm out.
Yeah, and got him down. You know, it should be a penalty. And VAR again. What was happening the whole weekend with VAR was crazy, because in Italy 3 situations VAR was wrong, and I think in Spain was wrong. in Germany. Sorry, in Germany was wrong. So there is a problem with VAR now as well.
VAR is weird. Like,
it's weird.
First, VAR would make everything a penalty, and I think somebody spoke to the guys behind the camera and said, "Hey, man, you're giving away too many penalties. Chill and scrutinize it more and give less." Because some of the things that aren't getting called as penalties now was getting called as penalties last year when they were first experimenting with VAR. And now, like, there's an instance in the Man U game. There's like 2 instances in the Man U game, but we'll get to that. But yeah, VAR has changed. It's been fast, but it has changed for sure.
Yeah, and in a way, the fortune smiled to Tottenham a week before because the rule is stupid.
VAR has been very nice to you.
Yeah.
It's been your best player every time you guys played Man City.
Yeah. And not against Newcastle. Not in this one because I think it was a clear penalty. And I think if
VAR switched sides.
And I think maybe VAR is like for underdogs. If you're an underdog, VAR helps
Hilarious. You. Yeah. VAR is the underdog's 12th man.
Yeah, VAR is like helping it's like Robin Hood of soccer, helping the poor ones to
beat the rich.
To beat the rich.
So let me ask you a question. You said it was a terrible performance.
Oh, terrible.
Why? What makes you think your performance was terrible? Because I kind of disagree with you.
Very slow motion. There was no attacking plan. Just moving the ball around. No, and I think they made a mistake. Pochettino, I think, made a mistake not starting creative midfielders. So he brought 2 of them in Lo Celso, in Eriksen. But if he wants to sell Eriksen, if he knows that Eriksen is leaving right now, so he didn't want to start Eriksen, he should have started Lo Celso, because they clearly lacked, and Ali, of course, is still injured. So they clearly didn't have a creative force in the midfield. They had a lot of guys who can bang bodies with other players, who can probably play physical football and be adaptable in that case. But there was no one to play balls to Harry Kane. He didn't get a single good pass until like 70th minute probably.
Well, here's the issue. Like, football is a very funny game, man. Right? You're saying there wasn't enough creativity.
No.
And there is that cry also in the Man U game. But I'm going to stick to this game.
Actually, I like Man U better.
Let me finish.
Yeah.
So, number one, there's a reason why teams park the bus. Because they know there is a chance in hell that they could either get a point or all the points. So parking the bus doesn't mean the team that's attacking should win. It means it gives the team with the less capabilities and the less budget a chance to win. So that's number one. That's why teams park the bus. Number two, you say your team played shitty, but you had 17 shots. Now, only 2 of them were on target.
Exactly.
But 2 of those 17 that I remember just off the top of my head were from point blank range, and 1 of those were missed by Harry Kane, and the other one missed by, what's the real Brazilian's name?
Lucas Moura.
Mm-hmm. So if any one of those 2 goes in, the game changes. Or if you get 2 of them, they have to come out more, and they're not parked because they have to try to get points. And then, Harry Kane, he was very decisive in the first game of the season when you guys were down to Aston Villa.
At the very end, because he didn't have a good game until like 85th minute. Yeah.
Right, but he had a good game right on time before the game ended. So you can't really...
he was very poor against City, but that continues every time. The first month of the season, he's not at his best somehow.
Yeah, but he scored how many goals already?
He scored 2 goals,
which is not normal for him
at
this point of the season. So you think your guys played appalling?
I think we played very bad, and then Pochettino had a very bizarre press conference after the game, and because he was complaining again, and
what did he say?
Oh, that there's no stability in terms of the squad decisions, But hey, I mean, he got money to buy players. For the first time in years, he actually did spend money,
and
a lot of money.
Stability?
Yeah, because the Eriksen situation, I think, is not solved. That's what he was trying to talk about,
Well, I guess that might hurt you guys a little bit.
Yeah,
I guess that might hurt. But that's the thing, though. Like, what is stability? Stability is when a player wants to leave, right? And it kind of shakes things up. But sometimes a team makes the choice that they want a player to leave. And then they never complain when that player is still on their roster. They never complain about the stability of the team. That when they have a player who wants to leave, but they complain when that player wants to leave that they don't want to leave. But you have a solid enough squad. Like your bench was legit deep.
Yeah, and another kind of a little bit bizarre situation with Vertonghen. Nobody knows what's going on. Why Vertonghen is not playing? He was our best defender last season, so nobody knows what's going on with that. Alderweireld is playing, who doesn't have any still a signed contract for more seasons, than this one. And Vertonghen is not playing.
Sanchez is out of contract.
I think after this season he's out of contract. Yeah,
All
I
right.
think so. But he actually did play well in those games. Sanchez was, I think, the one who wasn't always in the right place at the right time, and I think I would also blame him partially for the goal. Scored. Great finish from a guy that Newcastle paid a lot of money for. I mean, I think he was the record signing from Hoffenheim.
Joel Ilton.
Yeah, from Hoffenheim, I think.
Well, that's where I want to talk about. I want to give Newcastle some credit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't really rate Steve Bruce as a coach. I understand why he works. He keeps you up when you need him to, and he's been around. He knows the league, but based on like some of the most creative coaches I've seen in the league, I think he could be better. So that's why I'm not like crazy about Steve Bruce. So I don't want to shit on him.
He's old school.
He's old school.
Yeah.
But the way this was one of the really, it's like the Premier League is changing, right? Back in the day when teams used to park the bus, when they park the bus, they just boot the ball out.
Yeah.
And then kick it back into the basket of the opposing team, and the opposing team just comes back and restarts the attack.
And just crossing, yeah.
Even the teams that park the bus now, they're not just booting the ball out. They are starting legit attacks. And that look very creative with smart players. And that's what I saw in this game. And that's why I like what Steve Bruce did in this game. Because before Joel Ilton scored his goal, Longstaff had a great shot on goal that your keeper saved. And that was like boom, 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 boom. And I was like, you don't expect that from a team
and
that parks the bus.
Almiron also very creative.
Yeah. But he's a little out of control, but I understand the purpose of him because he runs at you guys. But he'll just make you worry. But it's like a match. You light it, it's lit, and then it'll just burn to the end and burn out itself. So he has to learn how to connect with his team.
And don't forget, he came most recently from MLS, where he was
we know that. You keep
towing with everyone. So pretty much he's used to doing whatever he wants to do on the field, and it's just a different level of football.
Yeah, he looks like he has possibilities, and he'll get better. But Joel Linton, the way he held up the ball on whether it was a scoring opportunity or not, and it's just good, classy, really amazing play from some guy, and he's big, and it just was impressive. It wasn't like park the bus, boot the ball up, get the defense 2 seconds a breather, and then let's get ready for them to attack us again. It was really like, when we get the ball from you, it's on, Spurs. Watch your back. And Joel Linton helped him. So then they didn't start this guy, but somebody got injured. But then he came into the game, right? Atsu, right? That little motherfucker should have been the player of the game. He's the one that set up to go to Joel Linton. And just as creatively, he's creative. Besides Paul Pogba on Man U, he looked more creative than Lingard or anybody on Man U. You know what I mean? And he probably looked more creative than your players too, because he only had a few chances to look creative, and he looked creative every time he got the ball.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. We didn't start in actually creative players. Some of it was injuries. Ali and Dombella. I think Dombella was very good in first 2 games for Tottenham. I think he was really, really good.
Right.
And they missed him.
But that's
for sure.
You have the depth, and he's a holding midfielder. He's a defensive midfielder.
Yeah, but he's like half and half. Like he can play balls, and he can finish as well. I mean, he's a complete player. He's a complete midfielder. But then you have to start Lo Celso Eriksen. You can't just start without creative midfielder.
But he's trying out Lamela. Like, Lamela scored last week, right?
Yeah.
So you have to play him, but his creativity was pretty much
he had a bad
zero.
Game. Bad game, really bad.
Yeah.
Really bad.
And then Son's ban was over, so you want to get Son right back in there. He's been resting, so you get him back in there. And then Lucas Moura, you keep going with him. So, and then you have your Sissoko and your Winks. It's just...
Winks didn't have a good game either, yeah.
But that's the thing. I don't think Winks had a bad game. Like, they scored... Winks did his job. He's a holding midfielder.
Yeah.
He's a holding midfielder. He's literally the patch between the defense. And so he does his job. Nobody beat him, I think, to score. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, if you're judging his game offensively, you can't, because that's not what his job is to do.
I agree.
But so I don't think he had a bad game.
He was kind of the way he was set up, like the expectations were that he'll be also a little bit more creative. So he was kind of out of his role a little bit on the team.
How is he set up to be offensive when you have Son, Lamela, Lucas, like him and Sissoko?
But in terms of giving
back.
the passes like Eriksen does, in terms of like distributing the ball, like he wasn't distributing. You can distribute also as a defensive midfielder, and he wasn't really distributing the ball very well.
Right. Eriksen came on. What did he do? He created probably one chance.
This time, not too much, no.
Yeah.
And I think the game against City wasn't very good for Tottenham neither. The City were much better. So last two games, I don't think Tottenham played very well.
All right. Well, listen, man. Anything else you want to say about this game? You guys lost. It was second to last. I was happy as shit.
Yeah, I'll tell you this. This is why I texted to our friend Tony. That pretty much our both teams are out of the title race. And they are. I mean, you have to say it. It's only 3 games, but Liverpool and Man City, the way they play, they're not gonna lose many points in this season. So it's over.
Listen,
it's a two-team race.
Let me tell you something.
It's over.
It was a 2-team race before the season started.
But now
before
it's clear.
But it was always clear before anybody had any points. I mean, you guys were the only team that had a chance of holding on to them from behind and getting a free ride up the hill, and then maybe you can spring an attack on them. But let me see. You got 4 points. You're even behind us.
You're already 5 points behind Liverpool.
Yeah, 5 behind Liverpool. So, but it's a long season. We'll see what happens. But this is not good, right?
Especially the next game will be a tricky one because we play Arsenal away. So Arsenal is actually not that bad. They didn't have a good game this time around, but they're not bad. They're a dangerous team. So this will be a very, very difficult game.
Well, we'll talk about games coming up.
Yeah.
All right. Let's just go to Man City. They played Bournemouth. They beat Bournemouth 3-1. And formality.
Yeah, I think there are like 2 goals disallowed for Man City in this game.
And they still had 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sterling, he's on another level. I mean, it's pretty amazing. I think he might be the best player in the league right now.
Think so? That's great to hear. It's great to hear a black English player might be the best player in the league, especially a guy that was much maligned.
Ooh.
And this is the thing. Once he started showing his intelligence last year off the field and responding to biased reporters and, with logic, it also, his game backed it up. So that's the beauty of Raheem Sterling right now. The guy, who would have thought the guy with a machine gun tat is smarter than all the people who are like, I'm an intellectual, I can write articles. Yeah, but like this guy is not stupid, and he's a Renaissance player.
Yeah.
He's here to learn and do his thing.
Although the newspaper that he's got huge beef with, they're not known for having
anything
intelligence.
But they think they are. That's the thing. They think they're intelligent. But you're right, yeah.
Because they were the one beefing with him openly, like posting all those photos of his bathroom and stuff. Yeah.
How'd they get in there?
It's a good question. That's a good question.
Or maybe they just took it from his timeline or something.
Yeah.
All right.
And City looks good. I mean, they look good against Spurs. They should have had 9 points out of 3 games. They should have had.
Yeah. I mean, they had the ball. They had most of the possession. The goals. So you were talking about the possession you guys had, and it's tough sometimes for me to figure out. Games are funny, because I watch your game and you guys dominated. In our game, in Man U game, we dominated Crystal Palace. And then the City game, they dominated, but they got goals. But I think the thing was, first of all, Bournemouth is more willing to be a little bit more open. But goals that City scored, it was really precision. Bang, 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 bang. And that's, I guess, what you guys needed and what Man United needed against Crystal Palace. It's like the Sterling goal, he had a split second to make his move and shoot at the same time. And if he didn't, he would have to turn it around and the whole team would have to reset and try to score again. But and the same thing with De Bruyne got an assist, but it was really a flub. And they gave, and Sergio Aguero scored his goal. But yeah, they just, there's typical Man City, well drilled. And they have players like, I'm going to say his name wrong, Zinchenko.
Zinchenko, yeah.
He's getting, I remember seeing him a year and a half, and I was like, I think but he's getting better.
Oh, yeah.
So
same with Rodri, and they bought him for a lot of money from Atletico Madrid. He was already a very good player. They have Cancelo also, who can step in at any minute, because they use Zinchenko and Walker, but they can use Cancelo,
right?
Who was probably the best. Some people say he's the best wing defender in the world.
Who?
Cancelo.
Oh, but Walker's not having none of that. Kyle Walker's like, yo, this is my job. The first, I saw this game, but he didn't do anything really outstanding in this game. But the first 2 games of the season, I was like, who the fuck is that? And I was like, that's Kyle Walker. And he stepped up his game.
Oh, yeah, they have to.
And because he knows they bought somebody. And they don't want to keep that money on the bench.
Oh, no.
This team is just...
Cancelo is a big name.
This team is just unfair with their bench. They got Riyad Mahrez. He's a league winner. Fernandinho
double
didn't
league
play.
winner, yeah.
Double league winner. No, one, right?
No, he won.
Yeah,
with
he
City
won
last year.
with City last year, but he didn't really contribute. You got this João Cancelo.
That's what I'm saying.
Phil
the guy they got
Foden
from Juventus.
the young dude.
Yeah.
Claudio Bravo's won La Ligas and Champions League, and and then there's more people here that we're not even mentioning. That is
David
on their
Silva
bench.
doesn't start every game.
So this is criminal how they stockpiled. This is an arms race, and they won.
Yeah.
Yeah. So City's going to continue to dominate this fucking thing.
They just need to figure out VAR, because VAR is their biggest enemy.
Yeah. I hope VAR plays for us when we play them. I want to go to the Aston Villa Everton game.
Oh, yeah, I watched that game. Very frustrating.
Why was it frustrating?
Because Everton had so much more potential, and they misfiring again. I mean, I don't think this coach will stay there forever because they should be much better than that. They should be much better, and they really had an off game. And then plus, they keep hiring those players that kind of are past their prime. I don't think Theo Walcott. He had a
He's not past his prime. He's only 29, 30.
Yeah, but he was in the 2006 World Cup 13 years ago.
He could still be in this one coming up, and he should have been in the last one.
Yeah.
But it's not. I think they do buy wrong. They buy. See, Everton has an inferiority complex. You feel me?
Yeah.
So if there's a player from a team that finished above them on the table, and that player is available, they'll buy that player and thinking that player is going to help us.
I will be. Yeah.
And they'll spend a ton of money on that player. But they won't scout the world and find a player from a smaller team. They do, but they spend big if the player is from a team that finished above them in the table, and they don't think, why is that team getting rid of that player? You know what I mean? Like
Andre Gomez from Barcelona.
Yeah, last week he fucked up. Last week, I think the guy put the ball through his legs or went around him and scored, and I'm like, that's your fault, bro. Or
Same
was
with
it
Mina also from Barcelona?
Well, that's a lot of stuff I want to talk about in this game, because first of all, this is what I'm talking about. This is the midfield of Aston Villa, right? Is fucking beautiful. it has such intelligence, such speed, such
Douglas
tenacity.
Luiz from
McGinn,
City.
Grealish, and you have Jota coming in from the wing, and then you got this dude fucking Wesley, who they spent money on as a forward. And I'm like, listen, they didn't exactly they got dominated, but 65% to 35%. But when they attacked, it was fluid, it was concise. These motherfuckers knew what they were doing, and they were fucking deadly. And it was just like Wesley Minna, right? The Everton defender. I thought for a second he was the defender because he was in fear of Wesley when Wesley had the ball. Wesley's huge, he's physical, he's imposing, his touch was amazing, his hold-up play was just perfect. He never lost the ball, always got it, always passed it to a teammate or reset the attack and scored the goal. How many goals did he have? One?
He scored first goal, yeah.
He scored the first goal. It was a beautiful goal, and it's just like, I don't know, man.
And
I'm looking at this
Luiz, good player too.
Yeah, I'm looking at
from City.
From City.
Yeah.
He got his working papers and he's playing, and I'm like, this midfield is better than Man United's midfield creatively.
Interesting. That's
I mean,
it's a big statement.
It is a big statement, but Grealish, I've watched all the Villa games and I've watched all the Man U games, and creatively, and another team I'm going to tell you whose midfield might be better than Man U's creatively. And when I say better than Man U's, like, we have one player that's better than all these teams, but they have multiple players after our one player, Pogba, that are better than our players. And like when you look at Norwich, I've watched all their games. Cantwell's
good, yeah.
Is it Buendia or Badia? You know that other guy? The other midfield, Badia. He's amazing. Him and Cantwell link up, and they're responsible for all the goals, and they get it to Pukki or Cantwell will score. But creatively, like, you're not going to hear anybody say Villa can't create. You ain't going to hear anybody say Norwich can't create.
Yeah,
these are teams
6 goals in 3 games.
Exactly.
Pukki.
So that's what I'm talking about.
No, 5 goals. 5 goals
Right.
in 3 games.
That's what I'm talking about. Like, that is not their issue. That is not their issue. So it's astounding that I can watch games this weekend and all the last 3 weekends and be like, shit, these teams that are supposed to be in threat of being relegated have better creative attacks than Manchester United. And I'm not saying that they're better, but they look better right now. Like, there are moments in games when we look like we don't have any answers. And I've seen these guys miss opportunities, but I've never seen them not create opportunities. So that's the issue. And we're talking about teams that may be dominated possession-wise, but so when they do get the ball, they're doing some shit with it, and it's impressive.
Yeah, I agree. Pukki didn't score for any teams before, pretty much. His career was non-existent, and he goes to Norwich and he scores over 20 goals for them in the championship. They get promoted, and now 5 goals in 3 games. He's 29 years old, so
right.
It's possible, to find your team where you're successful, and that's the case with him.
Yeah.
Came pretty much out of nowhere. Nobody, showed him any respect. And then he's proving himself on a big stage. I mean, I have him on my fantasy team. He's doing well.
You just put him on. You didn't put him on before. You didn't put him on at the beginning of the season.
But
before.
Still, I got points for this one.
That's hilarious. And I made a mistake last week because I said that on the show that Pukki has been with Norwich since they rose up through the ranks from the different leagues to get to the championship. But he just joined them, I think, last...
Yeah, he was in Scotland before.
Right. He was
Celtic,
with them definitely
last
last season in the championship, helped them get promoted, and he's with them this year. But Villa, very impressive. Lloyd, you got your first win, but very fucking impressive.
Yeah, Grealish, I saw his tweet because before that game... I think he lost 20 consecutive games in the Premier League. Right before that game.
From when? Because he was a young buck when Villa was in
They lost last 18 games, I think, before, and now first 2. So he tweeted, like, finally it's over, finally.
He deserves it. He's been playing hard. I hope he don't relax. Can't relax in this league, bro. Arsenal versus Liverpool.
Interesting game because I think Arsenal, they made a mistake the way they set up the team. They set up the team defensively, but kind of playing to Liverpool's strengths. They put Lacazette on the bench, and they have like very good 3 offensive players that technically can play together. I hope they're not going to figure it out before the Tottenham game. They have Pepe, Lacazette, and Aubameyang, and they didn't use that creativity. They were playing pretty much playing a reactive football to Liverpool and left them space on the flanks, which allowed Arnold and Robertson to do whatever they wanted to do best, So they played to Liverpool's strengths, and Liverpool could have won this game 6-0 instead of 3-1.
This is funny because the score of the game, to me, this was a formality for Liverpool.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Arsenal was never going to beat Liverpool, right? And the only way Arsenal could beat Liverpool, Arsenal is too proud to play that way. Like, because Arsenal has better offensive players than any of the teams in the league that park the bus. And that's exactly what they should have did. But it's like, I'm Arsenal. I can't park the bus against Liverpool. My fans would boo me, like I feel ashamed of myself. And only way I'd not feel ashamed and throw up after the game in the corner in the locker room is if I get the points. But, to like even pretend that you're going to attack is going to open you up to Liverpool, because Liverpool is just so perfect right now, mm-hmm. and in all facets of the game. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, like if you're Arsenal, the only way you're going to beat Liverpool is park the bus. And if you ain't going to do that and you're going to like act like you're going to attack them, they're going to fuck you up. And that's what happened in this game. They got the penalty. Salah got the other goal. And then what was the other goal? Salah had 2, and then one was a penalty, one was when and I'm just going to skip that point. Now, Arsenal, you know why David Luiz was sold to you by Chelsea.
I was about to talk about
now.
David Luiz.
Now you know why Chelsea, who is supposed to regard you as a threat for the fourth spot in the league, was like, nah, you can have David Luiz. Even though we're in competition for the same thing, you can have him for whatever million, because they knew he'd play better for them with you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because David Luiz is a very accomplished player,
mm-hmm.
but
he's got his flaws.
He has lapses.
Oh, yeah.
And here's the crazy thing about David Luiz's lapses. Whenever he has a lapse, the other team scores. He could be 99%, but his lapses always seem to cause his team to go down a goal. And there was one for the penalty, right? And then the Salah one where he couldn't really tackle Salah. So he's kind of like, let him go. It's like, get him off the field then. Sub him out. Because if he can't do a take one for the team foul, get him out the game. And then it's like, congratulations on your buy, Arsenal. Because if you thought that you fixed your defense by buying David Luiz,
it was a
you don't know football.
But it was a panic buy. So kind of a little defense for Arsenal. It was a panic buy because I think they completely mishandled the Koscielny situation. I don't think they expected Koscielny to go on full on strike, mm-hmm. and to be so hostile toward the team that he captained in last season, and last previous seasons. That was a big surprise for Arsenal. They didn't. I don't think they saw that coming, and we still don't know what really happened between them. It's still not sure.
Where is he now? He went to
France. Yeah,
France.
But the way he handled that, he pretty much said that he's not going to play for Arsenal, and then he had this famous Twitter post where he took Arsenal jersey and and threw it, threw it down.
Uh-huh.
So
he threw it to David Luiz.
Yeah. So that was a panic buy. They needed a center back desperately last minute, but they should have found someone somewhere else and paid that money for. And they thought they're buying a proven defender, and a champion.
He's a proven defender and a proven lapser.
Yeah,
that motherfucker will lapse on you.
I don't think he fits a team like Arsenal. He probably fits a team that is more in need of an attacking defender. I don't know.
I think what David Luiz should be now is probably a holding midfielder, not a defender. Just make him a holding midfielder. You need one anyway.
But they need a defender.
Then you don't buy him for that. But you also do need holding midfielders.
Yeah.
Like, put him in, like, listen, I'm sure there's some young kid that would love a shot out of your youth system. Like,
they just sold him, the Polish guy. They sold him to Derby for 10 million pounds.
Hey, good luck then.
Yeah.
That's all I can say. Good luck. You're in trouble.
They're in trouble, yeah.
Yeah. You're in trouble, and we'll talk about the new trouble that's going to come up for them. Let's do the most painful conversation of the weekend.
I thought it already happened.
No.
For me, it already happened.
No, for you, it already happened. For me, Man United loses to Crystal Palace 2-1. I knew it was going to lose the season, not this early. Last week was tough because we had a draw against Wolves, and then, goddamn, this shit happened.
Yeah, I you know what? Like, my first reaction was obviously like, oh yeah, that's Man U from last season over and over again. But then I think there were some positive signs, you know, like I wouldn't blame. No, I like this guy, James. I think he's actually a very good buy. Right. I think he'll be a very good player.
All right.
So I like what I see from this guy. I think he kind of might be an answer for a couple of problems offensively for Man U. If he's getting a start every game, he might be actually your best offensive option right now, because he's really very, very talented. He reminds me a little bit of a young Michael Owen. Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to disagree with that at all. Mm-hmm. He's got 2 goals. He's played 3 Premiership games. And they started Pereira in the first game against Chelsea. Mm-hmm. But then James came on in his place and scored. And he's tenacious. He helps back with the defense. And he's young and he's hungry. And he goes forward and he runs. And that's why he scores. He's kind of a box-to-box winger.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, and we need that. The problem is, I discussed it before when I gave props to Norwich and Aston Villa. We need some creative people on the team. And listen, this is who we are. Like, I didn't want to drop the points, but I understand why we dropped the points. Like, we don't have any answers to the questions that teams who park the bus ask us. We cannot break down their defenses, and we can't figure it out. I don't even think, like some people are saying on social media, that Pogba's in the wrong position. I just think if we add 1 or 2 attacking, creative midfielders to what we already have, that's enough to really get us close, if not on par, with Man City and Liverpool. You know what I mean? Like, all throughout the last few years, we just never added any creative midfielders. We just added defensive ones. The only one we added was Sanchez, and that's not working.
And it's a problem, yeah.
And so I say put Chong in there, put Gomez in there, and Mason Greenwood in there. Lingard is not creating. He's harassing people and trying to win the ball back. But I'm sure Mason Greenwood would do that. I'm sure Chong would do that. I'm sure Gomez would harass people. You know what I mean? Like, but we need somebody when they get the ball. Like Lingard, I like him, but he chokes. He has Lukaku control.
Lukaku scored a goal in his first game for Inter, by the way.
Yeah, but Lingard's like coughing the ball up at pivotal moments, like when you need to be like to prove that you're a real Man U player. So there are moments like you have to control the ball. You cannot lose it when we're down and we're trying to get goals back. You gotta do better. And there's the other things. We're not utilizing our height. We have so many tall players: McTominay, Maguire,
which I'm
Pogba.
Not such a big fan of McTominay.
Well, we'll get to that. Listen, McTominay is not bad. You know what it is? It's like
it's not great
who
either.
He's passing the ball to. Like, we need better people for Pogba and McTominay to pass the ball to. So then, like, a team makes a team. So then you're as strong as your weakest link. So you look weak based on the intelligence of the person you're passing the ball to. If you pass the ball to somebody intelligent, you look intelligent because that person made an intelligent run. If they get the ball and do something great with it, it makes you look better. Because when they show you the highlights and the score, like McTominay's not out there giving away balls and giving away. He's doing what he's supposed to do. People say Pogba played bad, but based on where he was placed on the field and told to play, he had a good game. Like, he didn't do anything creative, but like when they put Eriksen in for you guys, they basically put him in the same spot as Pogba. Is like he played when they put Eriksen in your game. Who was he there next to, Winks or Sissoko?
I think they substituted Winks. He was next to Sissoko, I think.
So then he's there, and then so Pogba's in the same
and
thing.
Moura, yeah.
Yeah, so he's there behind, the attacking midfielders, trying to feed them and make them do something, And it's Pogba played there all game, and he was responsible for the help of the first goal that we scored, the equalizer. And now people are shitting on him because he lost the ball for the second goal that Van Holt scored. But to me, I don't mind that goal because that goal got scored because Pogba had the ball. And he's looking at the clock, and we're 1-1. And 1-1 feels like a loss. So he's like, I have to do something at this moment to go forward, take on some people, and try to set something up, which is what he did in the last game when he won the penalty. This time, a fresh Benteke tackled him, the ball went to Benteke's teammate. They sprung an attack, and De Gea, who's off form, and everybody's calling that a goalkeeping error. That shouldn't even have went in. Like, Pogba should be able to make that mistake, and his teammates should be able to back him up, especially a world-class goalkeeper, so that they can get the ball back and they could try again. Like, listen, man, you watch basketball, right? Somebody goes to the foul line, or at a critical point in the game, if they miss a three, right? You got to be able to miss a three so that you can be like, fuck that three that I miss. I want another chance. My teammates, when I miss that three, they better defend down the other end so that when we get the ball and come back up, I can shoot another three and hit that three. And that's my idea of what Pogba was doing. It works in basketball. It does work in soccer. Like, when you make a mistake, your other teammates got to back you up because you've been backing them up all game.
Yeah, but the thing is, you said that a world-class goalkeeper. I'll tell you that. Like a year ago, if you asked me if I want to...
Two years ago.
Exchange him, Hugo Lloris for De Gea, I would say, yeah, probably I would. And he was known as one of the best goalkeepers in the world, almost sold to Real Madrid. But to be quite honest,
we would have ripped them off.
Yeah, but for a while he's not been a world-class goalkeeper, and it's becoming a problem. It's becoming a problem. He hasn't been a world-class goalkeeper for a while.
He's got world-class goalkeeper money in his bank account because we gave it to him.
For sure.
Yeah.
But so that is a kind of a save that you have to make at the end of the game.
Yeah, you do have to make that save at the end of the game. Also, I was saying before, we are atrocious on set plays. Atrocious. Rashford cannot. So we've been atrocious on penalties. So we've thrown away wins. We had wins in our grasp and lost based on lost points, drop points, because we didn't finish on penalties. But free
Pogba
kicks,
and Rashford, unbelievable.
Yeah, so the
Incredible.
irony, everybody was like, Pogba shouldn't take the penalties. He walked away, gave them the ball. So now what do you say? What do you say, media? What do you say when Rashford misses this penalty?
But it's interesting, actually very serious story that Rashford talked about after the game. I don't know if you saw that.
No, I didn't.
That he was racially abused after missing penalty.
Yeah, and so was Pogba the week before. Yeah.
So it's a big deal.
Yeah, it's just
2019. You don't think it's possible?
Yeah, it's possible, completely possible. What are you talking about?
In England?
Yeah, hell yeah. But let's go to more important things than racism. No, I'm just kidding. Listen, we can't fix racism, but we can fix
missed penalties.
Man U's
But can you, before the transfer window opens?
We can fix Man U's set piece problem.
Okay, who should take them?
I don't know, but this is what they should do.
Give it to James. Why not? He seems confident.
Well, this is what we should do. During the week, Pogba and Rashford should be practicing penalties more. They also, especially Pogba, should be practicing free kicks more. Like, every time there's a free kick, it's a wasted opportunity to score. Like last week, we dropped points because of a free kick to a corner to Wolves. Like, Wolves has special free kicks, and so do other teams. We don't seem to have that.
But that's coaching.
That's coaching. So how do we not? We know we're Man U. We know we're going to win free kicks. We know we're going to have possession of the ball, and when you have possession of the ball, teams are going to clear it, and we're going to get corners. How do we not have anything prepared for those moments? Because these are goal-scoring opportunities. It's football 101, and we have no ideas, no options, except Ashley Young or whoever it is just puts the ball in the danger area. There is nothing set up. We are too. It's crazy. We have all this height. We have opportunities that we are not taking advantage of, like stuff that we can win, and we're not doing it. We have height, we have Pogba, we have people who can shoot, and we're not trying any type of tricks or any type of setup. So, like, if you...
And that's basics.
That's basics. It's basics.
But it's coaching. It's coaching. Some coaches, like Diego Simeone, that they preach and they teach and they do those schemes every training session for at least 15, 20 minutes, and they repeatedly set pieces, you know.
Well, we ain't doing that.
Yeah, and that's a problem. You know, sometimes some coaches have even crazy ideas. I remember a coach in Poland 20 years ago.
We had 8 corners. 8 corners in a game. Like, I didn't see, none of them were dangerous.
Yeah.
None of them were dangerous. 8 corners. I mean...
No, you have to practice that. Those are Mourinho is known from practicing set pieces. He was always known from being very careful with set pieces.
Yeah, even if you don't have any answers to unlock a team's defense, a corner is a great way to... Because as soon as we score, they have to open up to get the points back. And then we can get through them.
But against the Wolves, it was actually different, because I think you scored the first goal and then you let them take control of the game completely.
Yeah, but then we did take it back. You know, so, like, I'm not even mad at the Wolves game like that. Like, I expected them to be tough, and it was down there. You know what I mean?
But Crystal Palace, who were hopeless in first 2 games, it's very similar situation to Tottenham, Newcastle. Very similar situation in a way.
All right.
But let me ask you this. So when Mourinho said before the season that him finishing second with that group of players 2 years ago was his biggest accomplishment as a manager. Do you believe that really
I don't,
maybe they're just not that good?
No, I don't think it was his biggest accomplishment. I do think it was a major accomplishment, but not his biggest. He's being sarcastic. He's being Mourinho. But listen, I look at that team. You know, we weren't bad. Like, Matic was still Matic, and we had Pogba. And
Ibrahimovic.
We had Ibrahimovic. Lukaku.
Rashford
was better. Rashford
stepping in.
Yeah. So did we still?
No, Lukaku wasn't there at that time.
All right. We had Rooney, right?
You had Rooney, yeah.
We had Rooney. Who else did we have?
Ashley Young. Mata. Mata was a more prominent role.
Right. I mean, it's a major accomplishment. But Zlatan gave us like 26 goals or something like that, and. Pogba was there. We had Mkhitaryan. It's like, so I said earlier, we haven't bought any attacking midfielders. We did. We bought Mkhitaryan. He helped us win Europa League, and then he got into it with Mourinho. Mourinho never got over that. And then we traded him for Sanchez, and then Sanchez has not worked out.
Yeah, here's the problem with Sanchez. I was thinking about it because I was listening to some podcasts, and somebody brought that up. That he had an offer from Guardiola himself to go to the City, but he only went to United because they offered him so much more money. So with City,
because Mourinho just didn't want City to have him.
Yeah, but at the same time, like you look at players' motive, like what's more important for him, because with Guardiola, he already worked with he would be working with the same coach he worked with with Barcelona. He would have won a title most likely.
But also, he might have known that Pep might not have played him.
No, I think he because he knows him, he would have played him. But
Pep didn't play him that much when he was at Barca. Like he played. Listen, you know who was on the field when Sanchez was at Barca? Xavi, Iniesta.
Yeah.
Messi. I think
Suarez came. I think
Suarez was there, and somebody else was there. Because I don't know when.
Remember when
Neymar came.
There.
Yeah. So it's like there was competition. You know what I mean? So it was tough to get to that field.
But it leads also to conclusion that why he didn't go to Inter Milan in the last few days. Maybe he still will, but
hopefully
it looks
he will.
Unlikely because he doesn't want to
salary.
Yeah, to lower down his salary, and for Inter Milan it's unacceptable, this salary.
Okay.
Plus they already got Lukaku from you guys. How much they can help?
It's hilarious. Well, hopefully he can help a whole lot more. Chelsea versus Norwich.
Mm-hmm.
Chelsea got their first win. That was an amazing game. I've already praised Norwich for what they did in this game. They lost. First time they didn't get any points in the game. No. They lost to
Liverpool, yeah. Pretty badly. For nothing in halftime, yeah.
It wasn't even that bad. It was bad. It was bad.
Really
it was bad.
If Liverpool won it, they would have beaten them like 8-0 probably.
But still, Norwich can get goals.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can get goals, man.
Yeah. Defensively they're very bad, but defensively they're at the lower league level. But creatively, I agree with you. They're better than Spurs against Newcastle for sure.
So, just the props to Tammy Abrahams. So everybody's like, Tammy Abrahams. There was a lot of pressure on him.
Yeah.
And you know what? Chelsea's coach, I'm blanking on his name. Frank Lampard. He's smart. Is this Tammy's first start? I think it is.
No, he started before.
He started
first game, I think, against United. I think he started, and he almost scored a goal. In the first goal.
All right, but here's the thing: Tammy scores 2 goals, right? He scores 2 goals. He finally gets his shit off. But you know who he scored 2 goals against? A championship team. He's used to playing this team because he played for Villa last season against Norwich. So him getting 2 goals. He got 2 goals in his comfort zone. So I want to see what Tammy's going to be like in the coming following weeks when he's not playing teams that he's used to playing in the championship and he's out of his comfort zone. I think, so this was a great, but it's a great momentum game for him to gain momentum and keep going. This is a great game for all the young players. Mount.
Yeah, I want to mention him.
And
he's like
Pulisic.
Same like James, there are like some young English players making strides right now, so which is a very good sign. Pulisic played better, but I think talking about Abraham, he got this opportunity because they couldn't buy anybody. If they could have bought anybody, they would have. The decision, whom to start is really difficult for Frank Lampard because it is very difficult because you'd either play a guy who almost for sure will not score, which is Giroud. He never scores as a starter. He only scores as a substitute.
Hilarious.
And then you have unproven Abraham, who was very criticized after the first 2 games. There was a lot of criticism towards him.
Well, he shut them up this week.
Yep.
And Mount, I can see why Lampard is high on Mount now. I could see why. It's like, oh, okay. And I'm jealous that they have a Mount. And Pulisic, I rate this dude, man. I think he's good. He had an assist in this game, and he just goes forward. He's fast. He's fucking fast. And he's just going to get better the more comfortable he gets in this league. And I think Chelsea has an upside. I mean, they can be breached. And they have such an amazing midfield. I don't know how they're getting breached like this. But, a championship team, Norwich, put 2 in on them. And we put 4 in on them. They've let in a lot of goals.
It's because David Luiz was sold.
And it's like, and that's another thing. This makes an argument for David Luiz.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know. So it's kind of confusing. Like, maybe Zuma has to.
They lost him. They lost Gary Cahill, who is now playing for Palace, right? And he actually had a good game against Man U.
Yeah, I didn't even notice he was on the team. I was just like kicking all my furniture so much,
You know who got the most criticism, and I disagree with it, but people were killing him on social media? Wan-Bissaka. He got a lot of criticism after the game.
After you going back to the Man U game?
Yeah,
he got some. Well, that's the thing. People are very emotional.
Yeah.
And they're like, Harry Maguire, Wan-Bissaka, first game. And then we lose a game. Harry Maguire, Wan-Bissaka. Is like, people are very bipolar.
Yeah, with Abraham, best example.
Yeah.
Who do you think will finish highest from the three teams, Man U, Arsenal, Chelsea?
Man U, Arsenal, Chelsea.
Mm-hmm.
It's a tough call because hopefully
that's the fourth spot in my opinion.
Who gets the fourth spot?
Yeah, that's between those three teams, I think.
Oh yeah. But the best, I think the team that has a more balanced and better team than us is between those three teams is Chelsea.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But they have a very short bench though.
I don't know. They have a lot of midfield. Like, listen, their starting midfield was Barkley, Jorginho, and Kovacic. Very capable guys.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't even play Conte. They have Willian on the bench. They got Marcus Alonso as a defender. I just think they have more capable people than we do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you could use someone like Willian for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Or, we could use a Willian. We could use a Conte. So, yeah. We don't got that. I'm just going to wrap up with the other scores. So, Chelsea beat Norwich 3-2. Brighton and Southampton, homeboy Lee. Southampton got 2 goals. They beat Brighton 2-0, so that's good for them. West Ham, what's his name? Haller.
Yeah.
Scored 2 goals. And West Ham beat Watford 3-1.
Watford, the only team lost all 3 games.
Yeah. So congratulations, Watford, on your losing streak. Good work. And Troy Deeney is out. Got some injury.
Mm-hmm.
So he didn't play. Let me see. Sheffield United, Leicester, lost to Leicester 2-1.
Leicester are a dangerous team. Yeah, I didn't mention Leicester. Actually, I should have added Leicester to the list. I just said of the teams that can maybe even break into top 4. They have very good coach. They have very good team. I think James Maddison is really becoming a very, very, very good player.
He had a great assist, but
Ian Wright says that he should start for England.
Let me tell you something, man. Don't fucking listen to what. And listen, man. Ian Wright was a great player. If he played like how he commentates, he wouldn't have been a great player. Like, I want to respect the things that Ian Wright says, but he doesn't give me the opportunity to respect the things he said. And I don't know if it's because he played for Arsenal, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's because he played for Arsenal, but when we needed a coach after we were going to fire Mourinho, or after we fired Mourinho, he was like, get Steve Bruce.
He said it right now, even right now.
How am I supposed to respect you after that? All I can do after that is
a menu guy. I support it.
Disrespect you.
I like
because
that.
You disrespected me. Yeah. So I can't,
But he also, I think he said it, and I think other people said it, that Man U should have bought Maddison. That you guys should have bought him this summer.
We did.
Yeah.
We did.
He's a very good player, though. He's a real player.
I think we can get better. I think they're going to charge us too much, and there's better out there. I'd have rather experimented with Bruno Fernandes than James Maddison. Because he played. I see what James Maddison is it James Maddison? I see what Maddison does.
Mm-hmm.
I need to see more.
Mm-hmm. He's still very young, though.
I still need to see more. So let's go to what's up with next week. Next week, we just want to. talk about, so we can just wrap this thing up. Like, let me go to fixtures.
We didn't mention Burnley, did we?
No.
Burnley played Wolves, right? Burnley had a very good start of the season.
Yeah, they did.
Which is surprising.
Well, they're not playing Europa League now.
Yeah.
And it's funny.
Wolves are, and Wolves are suffering, yeah.
But no, Wolves ain't really suffering. They haven't lost.
3 draws, right?
3 draws.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they tied with Everton, I think, or Leicester opening.
Mm-hmm.
So one of those two.
Then Man U.
Then they tied with us, and then they tied with Burnley.
Mm-hmm.
So they're, it's not bad for, second year in the Premier League. And Burnley had this game all the way down to the wire. And then, I don't think, do you think that was a penalty?
It's hard to say.
I don't think. Like, if
it wasn't Stonewall penalty like the one on Harry Kane, that's for sure.
It wasn't what?
Like Stonewall penalty like the one on Harry Kane.
Now you're just being a Spurs fan. Listen, if they overlooked the penalty that they should have given Martial, that was more of a penalty than this. You know what I mean? Like a guy reaching for a ball. It's a 50-50 ball. Nobody's sure if they're going to get it. And if he gets it, his back is to the goal and he's outstretched. He's playing the fall. It's like, but he scored and it ended 1-1 in extra time. And Wolves, Burnley, 1-1. But the big game of next week is Arsenal versus Tottenham at Arsenal. And you're a Tottenham fan.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about this?
Not too confident, no. No, because we didn't play well this season. I don't think we played that well against Aston Villa. We're losing until like 75th minute, and then Dombele scored a magic goal, and then Kane used 2 chances because they were tired. Then a bad game against City, very lucky point.
You didn't play a bad
Undeserved.
game against City. You played Man City.
Yeah, but it wasn't really a good game. They dominated us. They were much better.
But that's what they do to everybody.
Yeah, but we should be better than that. We just played in the Champions League finals, so we just beat them in the Champions League quarterfinals. So not so long ago. So definitely we're not playing well. Hopefully this Eriksen situation will be solved in the upcoming days.
How much do you think it's disturbing you guys, the Eriksen situation?
I think it's more disturbing it's not even the Eriksen situation, but the kind of a butterfly effect of the Eriksen situation.
What do you mean?
It's either because it's kind of half-assing the situation, you're not starting him, but then you bring him from the bench, so you're kind of not relying on him, but you're kind of relying on him. So It's either or. You have to make a decision. You either play him and he's the leader of the team like he was in the last 2-3 years, or you don't play him and you put someone else in this position.
But this is what it is. I think they're trying to sell him. They don't want to get him injured, but they don't want to lose points. So when they go behind, they have to bring him on the field. So this is it. Mm-hmm. This is it until you sell him.
Yeah.
And
they might not sell him.
The window closes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then you can start him until January.
Okay, so here's what happened today. And right now, because of social media, people are very fast with those because they have an eye on it. So Neymar liked 2 Instagram messages like a couple of hours ago. One, I think, from Sergi Roberto and another one from some other Barcelona or Griezmann. Mm-hmm. So he liked 2 posts from Griezmann and Sergi Roberto. So the speculation is that he will choose Barcelona over Real Madrid, and somehow they'll find a way to get it done. I think the potential Eriksen transfer depends on Neymar.
If Neymar goes to Barcelona, then Real Madrid will have to get Eriksen. That's what you're saying. All right.
If he goes to Real Madrid, which doesn't look like he will.
I don't think he wants to go to Real Madrid.
Yeah?
Yeah. He's already made one mistake. The surest bet for him, a guy that's made a huge mistake going to PSG, is to go back to Barcelona. And I don't think PSG was a mistake. It's his personality was probably wrong and off-putting for that team. Like, that's a good team, and it probably could have worked. And it's just his personality. But has he ever played for Valverde? Did Valverde come?
No, he
And then
came
he
later.
left?
Yeah, he played for
So we don't even know.
Enrique.
Yeah. So we don't even know if he'll get along with Valverde.
Plus, how many offensive players you can have? You know, like
They got a lot.
They have Griezmann, Messi, Suarez, now Neymar. Like
They got
some of those
Dembele.
players, some them. You don't even count Dembele. Probably Dembele will be sold. If they bring Neymar, I think Dembele will go to
They
Paris.
should just give him Paris.
Yeah, I think
I
that's
know
what's
they don't
gonna
want to
happen.
give him up, but
I think they have to. I mean, there's too many
they should.
players.
Yeah, it's too many.
It's so many. How many millions in salaries? Like 200 million, 300 million?
A lot.
It's crazy.
A lot of moolah, bro. But go back to Arsenal, Tottenham. I don't even know
I'm
how you
afraid.
got
I'm
your name.
scared. I'm scared of the game. Yeah, for the first time in a long time, I'm not confident because Arsenal, they have attacking power. The only way it's gonna be, and I'm not sure if Pochettino will go for it, just to attack Arsenal like Liverpool did. You just attack them and make them make mistakes. If that happens, sure, there is a chance.
I think that's why you win. I don't think Arsenal will park the bus. They're not a balanced team. They have a weak defensive midfield. They have a weak defense.
Yeah, Socrates is slow and Luis is uncontrollable.
So you guys should win this, or you might end up drawing. But I don't think you'll lose. But anything could happen.
Yeah.
Is this considered a derby? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anything could happen. But I would put my money, unfortunately, on Tottenham. But I just think you're a better team. I always root for the team that I think is a better team. But there are other factors because of the type of game that this is. But I would still put my money on Tottenham. And
I'll take it.
And so that's the biggest game next week. Man United plays Southampton. At Southampton, we have to win this, but we have the same issues. I hope right now we're at practice working on set pieces and penalties, because you can win a lot of games that way. You know what I mean? And you could bring teams out of their defensive shell if you get a 1-goal advantage from a set piece. So we should definitely be working on that. And then it will be easy to penetrate these teams. So Solskjaer, that is my message to you. Any other game next week of importance you want to talk about before we wrap up?
I want to see more from Leicester. I want to see if they continue to be up there high in the table, because you can really not take them seriously with the coach they have and kind of players they have as well. I think I will definitely pay attention to what they can do, because they maybe will have a chance to finish top 4 if they continue, good form. And Chelsea is a very kind of, what's the best word for the very mysterious proposition, because you still don't kind of know how consistent they can be.
I think they're going to end up in a pretty good position. They have a better midfield and defense than Man U and Arsenal.
So you are afraid about their top 4 chances?
Yeah, why wouldn't I be? Listen, we didn't make the top 4 last season. So and we didn't do enough and I get it. Like, you're not going to fix everything in one transfer window, but I think we should have. You know why? Because say you didn't want to spend all the money, now you want to take a progressive stance on things and like do something this window and do something next window. Everybody that you're going to want, it's just going to cost more money every window you go. So I just get them all now. And to be honest, everybody would have said our off-season was a success if we got Bruno Fernandes. Like, all the fans would have been like, so then even if we lose a game now, it'll help temper some of the anger.
Yeah, and like Bruno Fernandes, is he really that good? That's the question, you think?
Yeah.
For me, the player you missed on, because you could spend that money. You could have spent that money. And I've seen magic so far from him. It's Joao Felix, who went from Benfica to Atletico Madrid. You need players like that.
We need players like that.
I think he's better than Fernandes. He's like one in a generation talent.
He's a one in a generation talent, because I saw what he did last week to get that penalty.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this dude got it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, he's got it. This is money well spent.
Yep.
Yeah, so yeah. And that's who Man U usually gets, the best, the cream of the crop, the best young player.
Yeah.
That's going to be the best young player for at least a decade. And we didn't even go for him.
Yeah, you have to get players like that.
Listen, man, I believe in the Portuguese league. There's Portuguese players all over the world doing good in top leagues. So we should have got. They say Bruno Fernandes gives away the ball too much, and this is the last thing I'm going to end with. But he had 38 goals and like 11 assists, so something like that. He was responsible for 50 goals, and so then he has a positive 75-something% possession, and they're saying that Pogba and Lingard and this is when I knew the stat was bullshit, when they threw Fred's name in there, has a better.
Oh, Fred.
Yeah,
I forgot about him.
Who barely plays, who you forgot about.
I forgot
and it's
about
like,
him.
if you're using Fred's numbers, this stat that you're using to grade Bruno Fernandes is completely incorrect. And so, listen, man, the only reason why he probably gives up the ball more is because he's trying things to score. And it's worth 50 goals a season to give up the ball a little bit. We'll take it because we're giving up the ball without creating. So I'd rather, one of those when you're watching the game and everybody's like, because one of the most beautiful passes just got intercepted, but you could see what the player was trying to do. I'd rather see that and make that noise because the guy tried to do something. He tried to split the defense and almost did, but the defender just got there. I'd rather that.
Yeah, and I think James shows that sometimes you don't have to spend that much. You just find players who you think can rise. Can rise with a group of veterans around them. And you need to find those players. Like that's why I thought Felix would be a great buy because he's 19. James is young. You have to find those players instead of bringing burned out former kind of stars or players who picked at some other team, but you don't see much room for growth like Sanchez.
I mean,
or Mata.
When we bought Sanchez, he was at the top of his game at Arsenal.
Yeah, at the top of his game, but you want to buy before they reach the top of the game. Like James probably will reach top of the game
the thing with Sanchez was unforeseeable. It's like completely unforeseeable. Like I don't know, how old is he now?
For sure 30, but he's an old 30. He's like Rooney.
Yeah, so the issue with Sanchez was just unforeseeable. So I can almost forgive them for that. And everybody wants to point at Sanchez's salary, but we got him for free. We didn't pay for him. We traded him for a player. So we bought him for Mkhitaryan money, which how much did we pay for Mkhitaryan?
I think he came on a free transfer now.
No, they traded them.
No, but Mkhitaryan. Did they sign him?
So
or did they
that
buy
makes
him?
I think we bought him
from Borussia?
But if we didn't, fuck it. Everybody stop focusing on this salary for a player we might have got for nothing or not as much.
You know who you should get. You know who you should get? Guys like Sancho. You should get those guys.
Yeah, well, that's the thing.
Yeah.
We haven't pulled the trigger on guys like that.
Yeah.
Well, let's get out of here. You want anything you want to plug?
Sure. I think in New 442 stories, my interview with Benjamin Pavard from Bayern Munich and Shaka Hislop about his favorite games from his career. I'll be doing some comedy as well, and I have some movies coming out, but
where you gonna be doing a comedy at? You just gonna throw it. I'm gonna be doing some comedy and not tell you where I'm gonna be doing this comedy.
I will be on Wednesday. I'm part of this show at State Social House on Sunset Boulevard, 9 p.m.
Okay. That's a cool spot. I like that spot.
Yeah.
For me, you can cop my album, 100% Half-Ass. It's produced by Conan. It's on Spotify. You can listen to it there, on iTunes, just all the streaming places. You can also go to my website, ianedwardscomedian.com. You can see my show dates. This weekend coming up, I'm at Helium in Buffalo for the weekend. And the weekend after that, which is Labor Day weekend, I'll be at Go Bananas in Cincinnati. You can watch my special, Bill Talk Presents Ian Talk, on Comedy Central. I'd like to give a shout out to Aaron Brungard for just directing this whole thing. We appreciate it. And we're all things comedy. Everybody have a great week. Enjoy the football coming up this week. Please, man, you don't have me balled up in a fetal position crying on the floor after the Southampton game. Please, I'm just begging you guys, practice and work on your set pieces. I love you all. Thanks for coming through, Martin.
Thank you very much.
All right, at least both of us were miserable, so
yes,
that's good. All right, 1